Welcome and thank you for joining us for a forum with the candidates for the 10th District of the Onondaga County Legislature. My name is David Tyler and I am the publisher of the Eagle Bulletin. I'm joined here today by the two candidates on the ballot November 2nd, Republican Mark Olson and Democrat Heather Waters. I thank them both for their participation in what I hope will be an informative discussion of the issues affecting Manlius. I also want to thank the Fayetteville Free Library, our co-sponsor for this event, for hosting this forum and providing technical support. Before we begin, I will briefly lay out the ground rules. This is intended as a forum, not a debate. There are no questions that will be addressed to individual candidates, and there are no rebuttals. Each candidate will have 2.5 minutes to introduce themselves and their campaigns at the beginning of the forum, and then we will have a series of questions that each candidate will have 90 seconds to answer. At the end of the session, each candidate will have 2 minutes to make closing remarks. In the past 2 weeks, the Eagle Bulletin has solicited questions from our readers for this forum, and most of the topics we will discuss today come from the public. I have vetted, and in some cases modified, these questions, and neither candidate has seen the questions in advance. We are filming this session on October 20th. A moment ago, through a coin flip, we determined that Heather will speak first. So with that, Heather, take it away.
Thank you, David, and thank you to the Eagle Bulletin, and great to see you too,
Good
Mark.
to see you.
Thank you for this opportunity to share how I will represent District 10. And I can tell you a little bit about the issues I'll champion right away. And given my experiences in office, but also my professional experience and background, I can share a little bit about how I will work with colleagues on the legislature. And I wanted to share a little bit about my origin story. I was born and raised here, and my earliest memory really is of picking string beans in the backyard of the house we rented on Academy Street, which is next door to where I think Mark grew up, the building. So I really, when I became a mother, I yearned to come back home and give my son the same opportunities that I had to grow up in a really healthy environment and one with so many resources. And so I am, looking ahead now at serving on the legislature and realizing that there are cracks in the system. The same party and group of people have been serving for 6 decades, except for 2 short years. And they have been in charge of the more than $1 billion budget, putting that together, and the capital projects. And we don't have a fully staffed health department. We do not have a fully staffed child and family services team. Wastewater treatment plants need folks, and we don't have an environmental sustainability plan. And so I think that while we have an aquarium proposal, I think it's essential to have new voices and to have fresh representation on the legislature. I think that Mark has characterized our challenge as getting over the pandemic. And I really see our challenge as looking ahead and, figuring out how we're going to be as healthy and prosperous as possible in the future, because the future is going to test us, continue to test us. My strength in two-way communications and my work with constituents already, the work we've done engaging stakeholders in the comprehensive plan, and understanding the urgency created by climate change sets me apart from my opponent.
Thank you. Mark.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for being here, to the library and to the Eagle Bulletin. Thank you for hosting this. Heather, thank you very much. I'm excited to do this. Opening statements to me is about who I am as a person. I am very fortunate to have been born and raised. I'm 3rd generation Fayetteville resident. I actually delivered the Eagle Bulletin as a child at a young age. Worked at the Super Duper. I have 7 brothers and sisters. My family has deep, deep roots in community service. We've been involved in the church. I've been an active member of the fire department since 1981. I'm proud to serving my 41st year or 40th year. I meant to mention that the other night at our budget debate. To me, it's about giving back. To me, this position is about service. It's not about political parties. It's about what can Mark Olson do to help the residents of the 10th District. To me, it's always been about that. When I started out as a village trustee, the reason I ran for village trustee was I was at a fire. One of our fire trucks caught on fire while the house was on fire. And the trustee said to me, well, I don't know what you want us to do. And someone said to me, Mark, you can't just sit on the sidelines and let that happen. Get involved. So I ran against 3 other people and was successful in doing that. 8 years later, I said to with the mayor that was the mayor at the time, what else are we going to be doing, because I wasn't happy with the direction of the village. I didn't hear the answer I wanted, so I ran, and I won. And I have now been the longest-serving mayor in the history of the Village of Fayetteville since 1845. That's not a coincidence. That's leadership. That's working hard. That's working across party lines. If anybody knows what a mayor does, I work with anybody and everybody that will help the Village of Fayetteville be a better village, a better community. That's sidewalks. That's parks. That's working with WEP. That's working with the DOT. That's working with the state leaders, the federal leaders, the county leaders. My biggest supporter is Al Sturpey. He's gotten me more grants for the Village of Fayetteville than any elected official in the state. He's been great to us. So to me, it's about service. It's about giving back. And I have some serious concerns at the county level about the redistricting plan, the aquarium, the soccer plans, the issues that we're having right now with the budget. So I'm not going to go in there and just rubber stamp what has been done in the last 60 years. I'm there to turn the rocks over and to make sure that we're doing what we can for our residents. I use an acronym in my life, WITty. What is important to you? When I'm knocking on these doors, what is important to the residents? Not me, but what is important to the residents. And that's the way I've governed, and that's the way I'm looking forward to working at the county legislature.
Thank you. This first question will go to you first, Matt.
Oh.
Through layoffs, early retirements, and furloughs, the county now has more than 400 fewer employees than it did when the pandemic began. Those cuts, along with better than anticipated sales tax revenues, have put the county in a strong financial position. How much priority do you place on rehiring the positions that have been eliminated, as opposed to using the savings to lower taxes or for other priorities?
To me, I think one of the, and during COVID, nothing good has come out of COVID, except I think that we have learned that government serves a role. Government is very important, whether it's the village, the town, the county, the state, or the federal. They served a very important purpose in our lives. And I can't tell you how many times I heard from people, thank you for picking up garbage. Thank you for keeping the trucks on the road. Thank you for doing what you did as a leader. Governor Hochul made a comment. We gave people hope. We gave people what they needed to see in their lives. We were vital during the pandemic. Those positions, to me, should be looked at on a case-by-case basis. But one of the things that I think people need to realize is the county found their lane. They found out what's important, and they found out what they need to do for our residents. To me, that's important. I think we need to stay in that area, but then we have to figure out what we cut back and look at those. And should we? I agree. We should be looking at human services. We should be looking at WEP. We should be looking at DOT. We should be looking at all these things. But they should be coming from the department heads. The department heads should be saying, and the residents should be saying, hey, here's what I think we need at WEP. Here's what I've already heard from Shannon, the new director. They think they should be doing a few different things that they haven't gotten. Social services, Ann Rooney and the whole group there. I think they should be putting some of those people back. To me, it's about serving people, and I will go there, look at the numbers, and make a decision that I think is best for the residents of the 10th District. And it can't be just because one person says it's okay. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do my homework, research, study, and make sure that we make the appropriate increases or cuts. To me, I think that we found the right avenue. We just have to make sure we're doing it right.
Thank you.
To specifically answer this question about these 400 employees in these offices and this staffing, and I don't think you have to choose between it and lowering taxes. I think that the people that were furloughed and the difficulty in the backlog in filling positions that may even be budgeted for is essential. If we're going to tout essential workers and talk about what is essential, the folks doing those jobs are. And honestly, I think that we have an opportunity to lower taxes and build revenue by making sure that our infrastructure is not just a pipe dream, but literally connected pipes that are dealing with our wastewater in a responsible way. That's why I worked with the county already in my role as town board member to consolidate our sewers, and also on every single zoning project, including improving our commercial zoning for businesses, and also, working to get host community agreements with the Industrial Development Agency for our solar project, so that we have revenue that's coming in that is not taxpayer revenue and not sales tax generation. So I think that we have this good opportunity to do both, and I think it's essential to restore the staffing. And that's why CSEA endorsed me too, because they were really disappointed that our current legislator didn't protect them.
Thank you. The Onondaga County Legislature recently voted to quickly move forward with redistricting on a party line vote. This decision ensures that Republicans will have majority control over the redistricting process no matter the results of the 2021 election. If you were a member of the majority party in the legislature, would you have supported a similar move? Please explain your answer. This is to you first, Heather.
No. I supported the Same Way Fair Maps campaign and encouraged Legislator Holmquist to sign the Fair Maps pledge, which supported independent redistricting. And he signed that pledge. And then when the opportunity came to choose a structure for the committee, even before the census data was in and we were even able to look at this, he voted to have this other kind of committee that was majority driven. And now Chairman Knapp is ramming through, before the election, all the public hearings on redistricting, and originally said, we're just tweaking some things and there hasn't been that much change to the populations, and now is saying, well, maybe we need to look at exactly how we're drawing them. So, you know, the people who have been advocates for fair redistricting have had to work really hard to be heard, and so I think that needs to change, and it's one of the reasons that I'm running.
Thank you.
Good. Let me be as clear as I can. I don't agree with the system and what they're doing right now. I think as new legislators, whether it's Heather or I, we should have the opportunity to have our voices heard, and we should be part of that process. I will tell you that the charter, which I got great advice from Terry Pickard, who used to be the legislator for that district, said to me, read the charter. So I read the charter, and going through it, it says 2 meetings. Now they're having 6. So to me, they're doing better than what should be done, but it should not be done in an election year, and it shouldn't be done when it's done. It should be a bipartisan, but it also should be done with more public input, more public timing, and it shouldn't be rushed. We have 6 months to do this process. And here's my problem with politics, and I know Heather and I agree a little bit on this. It's, you're either on one side or the other side. There's no, the American people and the people in this district are in the middle. They want work done. They want service. They want things to get done. They don't want us to keep arguing, and all we're doing here is saying, you're wrong, you're wrong. Let's just stop. Let's have these hearings, but let's not make a decision until the new legislature gets in, because there's going to be 3 or 4 new people, or maybe more. And I think let them make a decision. Let them hear from the constituents. Let them hear from the public. Because to me, this, while they added 4, and all 11 Republicans voted, or all 5 or 6 Democrats voted against it, even though they added 4, it's still not right. There's got to be compromise, and there's got to be an ability to work together. And one of the things that I've been able to do as a mayor and as a trustee is work across party lines. Heather and I don't always agree on everything, but guess what? Last week at the fire contract, it was productive, and it was for the best for our residents. It can be done. It's being done here in Fayetteville, it's being done in Manlius and in Manoa. It can be done at the county, but you have to have the right person.
Thank you. The county executive recently proposed an $85 million aquarium at the Syracuse Inner Harbor. Mr. McMahon believes the project will drive tourism, which will then result in an increase in sales tax receipts. Do you support this project and agree with his reasoning? And this goes to you first, Mark.
These are great. I do agree that it will help with.
Coming, right?
I know. I do agree that this will help with tourism. This will help with tax dollars, and this will help. We don't have an aquarium within 3 or 4 hours of Syracuse. So to me, the idea and the concept and the thought process behind this is a good idea. Here's my issue. The governor, Cuomo, used to do this. He would put these things in the budget, and you either vote the budget down or you vote the budget in favor, even if you're not in favor of that project. To me, that's the wrong way to do this. This should be its own separate project. It should be vetted through the Ways and Means Committee, the Facilities Committee. The public should weigh in. I think the city has a lot to gain or lose, and I think I want to hear from what the city has to say. So to me, it shouldn't be rushed. The same with the sports complex project. I think that those 2 projects should be taken out and put on their own merit and be put in front of us. When the amphitheater was done, if you remember, it got rammed through, and there was a lot of questions, and people were always questioning what's happening. Is it making money? Is it costing taxpayers money? What was done? How was it done? Where is it happening? Let's not have that. Let's not make that same mistake. Let's slow down. Let's put it on the thing, and let's do it. And I would say to Ryan, I think it's a great vision. It's a great project, but it's got to be done right. And without support of the legislature and the people that are going to be paying for this project, I don't think we're going in the right direction. I will say that I've had that conversation with Ryan that I wished it not be as part of the budget process, and we disagree. So,
thank you. Heather.
What other great, big, bold ideas could we have? We don't even know, because nobody in the community was even asked to engage and discuss that. There's some comprehensive planning happening at the county level, but it's not about this project. 3 positions were hired to serve running this kind of large capital expenditure and project, this big ticket item that someone can put their name on ultimately at the end of the day, that was predetermined. And I think it is a lot easier for someone who is in the majority to be able to speak truth to power to the executive. And I think it is also important, and this is great that Mark also feels like this is a project that needs to come later. But I honestly think that we are seeing the product of what I was saying, this capital project issue, where the feasibility studies didn't get to the legislators. So you'd also have to be an advocate for making sure that every legislator got what they needed to even talk to their constituents. And by the way, I do want to make a mention about the public hearings for the redistricting. There are 6 of them, but 4 of them are over 2 days at 11 a.m. in the morning and 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So they are designed to have as few people as possible engaged in them. And I bring all this up because I am speaking about what people have told me at the doors that they care about.
Thank you. In recent years, you were both a part of raising the pride flag over Manlius Town Hall and the Fayetteville Municipal Building, respectively. Please explain your reasoning for raising the pride flag on municipal grounds and tell us what plans, if any, you have for cultivating an inclusive culture at the county level. This goes to you first.
Sure. So as I grew up, I got to know folks who were part of the LGBTQ community, and I am a member of the LGBTQ community myself as a bisexual woman, and I think that's not why I wanted to raise the flag in the town of Manlius. I mean, I care about representation, but I wanted other people in the town to know that they were very, very welcome. And I know that it makes a difference. Some good friends, the De La Garzas, who were at the original flag raising, have 2 young daughters who appreciated it. And if families in our community know that they're welcome, that's great. So that's kind of performative. So what do we do beyond that? We make sure that the resources, like those at the Q Center for youth, and that youth counseling and youth engagement are all well funded. We make sure that there's a real understanding that diversity is our strength in terms of training and understanding how to talk about gender. And finally, I would just say that I really believe that our schools are also engaging in this.
Thank you. Mark?
Yeah. So when we put the flag up in the village, it was truly a letter that we got from a resident who asked us to get involved and to learn more about the movement in the community, what the community was looking for. We did some research. We actually went through the process of seeing what the town did, what they were doing, and then we kind of made a decision as a board that we thought this was the right thing to do. Listen, I want everybody, and I say this for Fayetteville because I'm the mayor of Fayetteville, but it's for the 10th district. I want everybody to live in our community and feel welcomed and feel to be part of the community and feel proud to say they live in Fayetteville or they Manlius or Manoa or the town. And to me, when you have people that aren't saying that and aren't part of that process, to me, we're leaving somebody out. And to me, my job is to make sure, and this is no against the town, I want everybody to live in Fayetteville, and I want it to be the biggest community, and I want everyone to be happy and everyone to be proud of Fayetteville and proud of what they do. So at the county level, I think we could work with social services and the other programs that the county has and put out a program that goes countywide. We're not mandating it. No one mandated it to us. We wanted to do it. We wanted to be part of this, and we wanted to come out. I have 2 family members that are part of this community, and to me, I know the struggles that they go through, and to me, we're better than that. Our community is better than that. Our county is better than that. And the people that live in our community expect that from us. So that gets back to this politics. Let's stop this. It's about service. It's about people. And at the end of the day, I could put my head down on the pillow and know I did the right thing, and our community did the right thing, and I hope to do more.
Thank you. The county has mandated that all students, staff, and visitors in our local schools must wear a mask to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. Do you agree with this mask mandate? If so, what conditions need to be met for you to support the elimination of mask mandates in our schools and other public buildings?
So, wow, this is near and dear. I had COVID, and thank you very much for reaching out. I had COVID right early last year. I gave it to my 90-year-old father, my wife, and my son. I'm vaccinated. We both talked about wearing masks here today, but we're okay. I think in the village we have a policy. You have to wear a mask, and you have to, if you're not vaccinated, you have to wear the mask all the time. So then we took it to the next step. All our employees except 2 are vaccinated, and those 2 employees get weekly testings and wear a mask all the time. We're trying to find that balance. Public safety is very important. In the village, we were the first village to reach out and say, what can we do to the county? Can we help you? So the senior center, the village hall did weekly testing for months on end. We just had one about a month ago. 167 people got tested. To me, we've got to test more people. We've got to find out where it is, and we've got to put an end to it. When it comes to the children, to me, I think it's a school board decision. I think the school should say what they want to do. Each school and each community should make that decision. I support wearing masks. I have a mask. We both did. We both had them on when we walked in. I support it because it makes the public, and I think the people that have them on maybe feel safer. And to me, this is such a, you don't know where it is and you don't know where it's going to affect you. And I was fortunate, very fortunate. I had a lucky case, but I have a friend who passed away from it. It's not a good thing. So to me, I think if we could do the county mask mandate with some options, I think is the way we should look at this.
Thank you.
I think that people walking into institutions need to know that they're as safe as possible, or that all health measures have been taken. So if my friend who's pregnant is walking into a hospital, she should know that the people caring for her have been doing everything possible to keep her safe. And that's having a vaccine and also wearing a mask and taking that measure. So I think that the science behind the mask mandates is sound. And I think that I know that we've had to manage through the changing information and the data that's come with that. We all also had to make personal choices. So in this room, it's not a small room. We know vaccination status. We don't know our exposure status, but I'm sure that testing, we've been probably lucky enough to have access to it. The county dismantled its testing facilities, and so while we have great vaccine operations, we don't have what we need in terms of testing. So that means that we need to be extra careful and use the masks.
Thank you. Onondaga County Legislature meetings are typically held on Tuesdays during the day when most people are working and unable to attend. Viewers complain that the quality of the live stream of the meetings is poor. What actions, if any, would you take to make it easier for county residents to participate in these meetings? This is to you first.
Well, I want to make one point about the LGBTQ community and our needs before I answer the question, and I'll just say simply that I don't think I highlighted the public health urgency and need around supporting LGBTQ youth, because they are at risk. They're at risk for suicide, they're at risk for mental health challenges, period. So that's an urgent piece, and that's why the county needs to be involved. I think when it comes to, I'm just going to remember the question. You just asked about the timing. Okay, yes, of the meetings. Yes, I have a bee in my bonnet here, and lots of people do. They don't know how to participate. So you've got your $1 billion budget, and maybe you want to track along what's happening. You're not going to get there. So you need that video stream to be really clear, and maybe a hybrid model to be in place. So the town has been very, very supportive of the hybrid model. We were streaming meetings before, right when we got into office, the new folks, and we were able to make an opportunity for many people to participate. So that was my first action, is that I updated the meeting decorum rules in order to allow for open podium. So those changes about accessibility and timing need to happen immediately.
Thank you.
I've been to the last 6 meetings at the county ledge, and I think that, yes, there is times where the meetings could be changed, because when I sit in that room, it's department heads, it's me, and it's people that want to speak. So they have an open podium at the beginning. At 1 o'clock till usually they go till 3. So I think it is hard for some people. I have 2 things. I think we should do some of the meetings at noon, some of them at night, maybe 6 or 7 at night when it's easier for people to get it. Also, let's take this on the road. Let's go from town to town to town. Let's move the meetings around. The county executive used to have meetings, or her state of the state or his state of the state, Lemoyne. They did it at Wellwood one year. They've done it up at OCC. They've done it at the Civic Center. So if that can be done, let's move these meetings around to these different communities. But the other thing is that I think people need to get engaged. People need to go to these meetings. If they're very concerned about the budget, if they're very concerned about what's going on, they need to get engaged. It's not kind of all on the elected officials to get people engaged, but we need to do a better job. In today's technology, in today's age, everybody's busy. So we need to find a better way to get to those. So the live streaming needs to get better. And the town has done a nice job. But the town, and we both know, we get to meetings and there's 2-3 people there and you're like, wow, why aren't more people there? Zoom is helping and the live stream is helping, but it's still, it needs to be an engaged process. And I think if we change the times from, say it's during budget season, we go at night so people can hear that. And then we go back to 1 or whatever the time is. Or we say 7 o'clock works, let's move it. I'm totally open to that. We have changed our meetings from 7:30 to 6, back to 7, now we're back at 6, but they're live streamed and we're getting more and more people.
Thank you. The nationwide labor shortage is creating challenges for many local businesses. Are there initiatives county government can pursue to encourage people to return to the workplace? And is it the role of county government to involve itself in these types of efforts? Mark.
Oh, I absolutely think that this is something where the county can help in the Office of Economic Development. I think of going back a little bit, when we talked about the aquarium, all these programs in social services, the budget in the county is funded by 52% of sales tax. So 52% of the budget is funded by people going out and shopping and using that sales tax. So we have to have a driver that creates that sales tax. If we don't, then some of these programs are going to get hurt with the lack of revenue. So it's that balancing act. Do you have tourism and do you have hotels and do you have all these conventions, or do you do something different and not have the funds for that? This is a perfect example of labor reinforcement in the ARP, and the American Rescue money. That's where we should be putting that money to help these businesses. And every business, I've heard that people say, oh, Mark, COVID's over. COVID is not over. My wife, and she'd kill me if I didn't mention her, she's a nurse at St. Joe's, and she has worked 6 days a week since this thing started. And she's in the employee health office, and every day somebody's getting it, and sometimes 6-7 employees are getting it. And they're losing employees because they don't want to work in that environment anymore. So we've got to have retraining programs, take the American Rescue Plan, put some money aside and help these businesses, because some people, the restaurant industry's been hurt, the shipping industry's been hurt, the material handling industry's been hurt, education's been hurt, eds and meds they call them have been hurt. So people have tried to change their jobs and go to somewhere else. I changed jobs during the pandemic. So I think that the county can definitely play a program, and the money's there all the time. We know it all the time. Well, we don't have the money. Now that we have the money and we have to come up with a solution, there has to be a solution for this problem, and I think the county could use their American Rescue money.
Thank you. Heather.
One of the things that was a real obstacle to getting people into positions is the fact that the civil service exams were not being held, and the classes for them were not being held as regularly during the beginning of the pandemic. So already you have a sort of a funnel that's makes the stream, the pipeline for people smaller, and then it just became a trickle. So looking at those systems that feed the workforce and giving them what they need to thrive is really important. We need that at the county level. We need that at the town level. Our highway department, has a harder time, and Mark, I'm sure can speak to what it's like looking for folks to be engaged. And I think that we also have to think about what people are paying and the benefits and the hazard that's involved. So hazard pay is an option to provide folks through the American Rescue Plan funding, and fair wages and giving people the ability to make sure that their environment is safe is really, really important as well. So I do think that supporting locally owned businesses and independent businesses that can tell us what their workforce pipelines need to look like is important, because then we can understand with our new STEAM school and all of the technical programs that are within the county, we can make a difference in pinpointing, not just for meds and eds, but we need to broaden our economy, because we're completely dependent on meds, eds, and a failing mall right now.
Thank you. 2 projects, the redevelopment of Route 81 and the Amazon facility coming on board, are likely to create traffic challenges across the county, including in the town of Manlius. What can you do as a county legislator to advocate for the effective flow of traffic both within the town and for the many Manlius residents who commute to Syracuse before it becomes a quality of life issue for Manlius residents? Ms. goes to you first.
Sure. Most of our traffic is us. So if we can also choose to transport ourselves differently and in different patterns, that will help going forward. We're also going to have a tipping point where we need EV infrastructure and be ready for automated vehicles and drones, all the things that are going to be a part of our traffic. So it's a different way of thinking about it, for sure. We had the onslaught of international cargo to the CSX DeWitt rail yard in 2019. And that passage through the port of New Jersey was not slowed down the way other shipping mechanisms were. So we're in a wonderful position, and that's why the inland port conversation was something I engaged in and voted for a logistics hub there. And we were lucky enough to have other people like Ed McLenko in the town of DeWitt, who was able to, instead of this particular proposal that didn't work out with 3GI, engage with the town of Manlius and with the county and with the state to talk about other sorts of routing that we could do. So bike plus lanes, giving people the opportunity to grab milk or whatever they need by not hopping in the car, and also recreating and just being off the roads more often will help. But Amazon needs to do its part to also make sure that the infrastructure is supported.
Thank you. Mark?
81 is one of these decisions that I think is going to have an effect on generations of residents in the 10th District. And I've been proud to be with the Mayor's Association, meeting with the DOT, asking questions, working with Mayor Walsh in his office to find out, what can we do as residents, what can we do as leaders. If you see the plan that's out right now, they changed the 3E and 3W exits at our request from the mayors of Manlius, Fayetteville, and Manoa, because we worked together with the DOT and said, this traffic is affecting all of us. It even affects East Syracuse. They haven't, in my estimation, gone far enough. As I said to the mayor of the city of Syracuse, if it was the city, what would you want? And he goes, I'd want it correct all the way through. And that's what we're looking for, is you've gone to the Linden Corners exit. We want you to go all the way up into the villages of Fayetteville and Manlius and look at those intersections and what can we do to mitigate them. Some of those intersections now are at a grade F. You can't get worse than that grade. So what we are asking the DOT to do is put money away in a mitigation pile or a mitigation account in case when the project gets going, the project's done, will there be effects? When you go back to Amazon, people know me. I'm a small business person. I am not a fan of Amazon. When I think about these small businesses, and I was a salesman for a small brick and mortar dealer, they were putting us out of business. They're putting a lot of people out of business. And while some of that is good for getting 1,000 people in there to work and the other 300 people that are working in DeWitt and East Syracuse, that's great. But I think we need to do a better job of supporting small businesses. I think the county should purchase all their needs and supplies from local vendors and not outside in Atlanta and San Francisco because it's the cheapest. Those people pay taxes. Those people live in our community. Those people are invested in our community. And I think we should support small businesses in our community. And I think the Amazon factory, if they did anything wrong with traffic, they should fix it.
Thank you. If elected, how will you, as a county legislator, best use your position to support the 3 villages within the 10th District?
I like this question. Sorry. So, as a mayor, I've been very fortunate. I have a job I absolutely love to do. Since 2004, there has been many, many days that have been a lot better than have been worse, and I enjoy it every day. Helping people, solving problems, meeting new people, and the relationships that I've built, whether it's with the federal level, the county level, the state level, the town level, and the village levels. I'm very fortunate that I've been endorsed by the 2 mayors, the Mayor Brazil and Mayor Worrell. And I'm looking forward to working with them. One of the things that I'm going to do different than the current legislator is I'm going to come to each board yearly, and I'm going to give them a report on all the things that we've done from a county level to support the villages. And I'm going to do it at the town too, and show them a kind of a report card. Then I'm going to say, what do you want? What is important to you? What can we do as a county to help you? Because there's so many things. There's the DOT, there's the deer culling program, there's the Office of Emergency Management, there's Ann Rooney and Social Services, Offices of Aging, the Sheriff's Department, community development, mentioned. I just wrote some of these down. The Main Street Grant Program, I'm going to support that because that has been a great thing for the villages. We're putting the infrastructure and the help into the villages from the county ledge. That's our sales tax dollars. We're just not getting it. We're getting it back through a grant. So I'm looking forward to supporting whoever the mayor is in Fayetteville or Manlius and Minoa at the time, but really working with them, collaborating with them, and listening to them and saying, what can we do as a county to help you? But bring the resources that the county has to those villages. Connect those dots. I've learned so much through my podcast about what the county does that I didn't really know, or I didn't know it connected. And there's so many things that connect at a county level to the village and the town, and I want to make those connections.
Thank you.
Just want to mention, I forgot to mention that I'm a huge supporter of the community grid, and I believe that stemming from the community grid and pulling all the way out to the exits and the ancillary projects for 81, we will all boats will rise for us. I would say that we have 3 villages that have unique characters and histories, and those can all be celebrated. I loved sitting down with Barbara Burvet early on in my term and learning about the history of Minoa and understanding certainly about the women who were voting for school board because they were landowners. Love learning about women's history and suffrage. But also, based on the topography and the geography, why Minoa was more agricultural and is more agricultural, and really how that shaped along with the settlement of the town, of the villages, how that has also created a sort of a natural divide and barrier between the villages. So I think it is great to have great relationships with the mayors. I do have a wonderful relationship with Mayor Worrell and with Mayor Brazil. They're responsive and open and great. I think that the funding that comes from the county, the Main Street grant programs, all of those, the needs need to be well articulated by the villages in the town, and constant communication. That isn't just legislator to supervisor, legislator to mayor, but more information that flows through the entities and is visible to all.
Good, thank you. Seems like this has flown by, but this is actually our last question.
It has.
When campaigning, politicians often use the phrase, "On day one, I will tackle this issue," to highlight the issues they feel strongest about. What are your on day one issues, and what do you plan to do to address them? Goes to you first.
Day one, I will reach out to every single person who I'll be serving with, and well, ahead of the day one, actually, I will get to know them, and I will introduce myself to all the department leads and try to visit as many folks between November and January so that when I serve, I really have grounded relationships that aren't just about the campaign period. I will make sure that I'm prepared with a resolution for the organizational session to change the meeting times and access to the legislature. I will see what's possible to correct what's happened with redistricting in terms of engaging others and slowing the roll. And I will also look at that money that's being set aside and will be likely voted in for the aquarium and Hopkins Road, and see again what we can do to understand what's in the feasibility projects, test it, and make sure that the bar for the public good is as high as it needs to be.
Thank you.
So I just want to step back from day one a little bit. You know, when I announced that I was going to run for this position, I wanted to learn about what it was to be like to be a county legislator, and I wanted to learn and meet the people. So for the last 6 months, I've been going to meetings. I've been going to Ways and Means. I've been going to budget hearings. I've been going and meeting with Darcy, Nick, Ryan, Dave Knapp, his whole, all the associates that work with him, learning what it is that a legislator does. I've had 11 podcasts with different legislators. What do you do? What works for you? What doesn't work for you? The example I gave with Terry Pickard, I said, Terry, what should I do? Read the charter, Mark. It's the most important thing we do. Kevin, what do you think is the most important thing to do? So I've been reaching out. I don't know all the answers to everything because I'm not a legislator. When I became mayor of the Village of Fayetteville, I got a pat on the back and said, here's the keys, you're on your own. I don't want to do that. I don't want someone to do that to me, and I don't want to do that to somebody else that's ever in that position. So I'm going to reach out day one and talk to the people that I've met in the last 6 months in the legislature, the ones that are going to be there and the ones that have left, and say, what would you do differently? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? But I got great advice from Ray Van Giesen when I became the mayor. He said to me, Mark, for the first 2 months, 3 months, just watch how it works. Make sure you understand the process. Make sure you understand what's happening. Don't make any rash decisions because you want to make sure you're in the best position. That was the best advice I ever got from anybody in politics, was watch what they do. It's not broken, but if you find something that is broken, then put your agenda together, then fix it. Don't make any rash decisions. So day one, I'm looking forward to saying hello to all the people that I've been working for and with these last 6 months and learning as much as I can to hit the ground running.
Thank you. You each have 2 minutes now for a summary statement.
Okay.
Mark, here.
Thank you. Thank you, Heather. Thank you again to the Eagle Bulletin. Thank you to the Fayetteville Free Library for hosting this. To me, this has been an honor to be running for this position. Again, as I said before, I have been in elected office, and I've loved every day of it, serving people and serving the public. To me, you're never wrong when you do the right thing, and that's the motto that I use. I want to thank all my campaign volunteers that have helped me. We talked about local business. I'm very proud that in my campaign, I have gotten all our palm cards from UPS and Manlius. Our flyers are done at a local company in Liverpool. We've used local vendors, hats at Top Stitch. Our signs are made at Allied and Aerograph. We have done fundraisers at Spill the Tea and the Seneca Brew Pub and residents and houses in the village. I'm very proud of the fact this is a grassroots campaign, and I've loved going out knocking on doors and hearing what's important. Last night alone, I was in the Manlius neighborhood and knocked on a man's door, and he goes, "You went to high school with my son." And I got a chance to get his son's phone number and address, and somebody I haven't talked to in a long time. To me, this campaign is about people, it's about public service, it's about passion, it's about results and relationships, and I'm very fortunate to have a lot of those qualities that I've worked with as mayor in the Village of Fayetteville. I'm also proud of the fact that we are a progressive community in Fayetteville. We were the first community to do salt brine, first community to do deer culling. Our Main Street program, we put sidewalks in the town because we knew the importance of that. We used koi fish in our beard pond from Cornell. We were the first community to use IT from BOCES. We are a DEC 360 community. We are a climate smart community. We got Safe Routes to School grants for sidewalks to make sure our kids could walk to school on safe sidewalks. We got more grants than the city of Buffalo got in Fayetteville, New York. We have an emergency operations center that we work with the town police, the town highway, and the CRC committee. We are a community that works together for the betterment of our community. And what I'm looking forward to is taking that experience, those relationships, that public trust and people first attitude to the county legislature to be the best county legislator I can be. Thank you, and I hope for your support.
Thank you. Heather.
I just want to say first off that this has been a great opportunity. Thank you for making it possible. I know it takes a lot of time. I know you had a magazine to go to print and had a lot of things going on, so thank you for making time to do this.
Sure.
And thank you to everyone who's been engaged within the community and has paid attention to this campaign and is also checking out how to vote on propositions, including extending the terms of our town clerk and our highway superintendent, which would be wonderful, from 2 years to 4 years so they can do their great work. I want to say that I have heard Mark speak about his dedication as a mayor and as an executive and someone who really is where the buck stops. I think we should give him a lot of credit for being so caring and being so committed to the community and working as hard as he does. I absolutely do. And no matter what, I will get to work with you, Mark,
Yes,
whether it's
absolutely.
as a mayor or whether it's in my town role or if I am county legislator. But I really believe that the county legislator position is different. You're not an executive. You're a legislator who has to work shoulder to shoulder on problems, and you have to speak truth to power and advocate for particular needs that come up. And I have to ask the voters to think about who is going to get more pressure to stand in party rank and file and to listen to the county executive. When someone was really asked to run and encouraged to run by the county executive. I was not. So I think that that's,
Neither was I.
I truly appreciate that, but that is something that I think is a difference between us, and particularly for this role. I have done what I can to bring transparency and comprehensive planning that engages folks, that is in two-way communication, and have worked hard to make sure that the town caught up on the sustainability front. It all needs to happen at the county as well. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes our candidates forum for today. Again, I want to thank the Fayetteville Free Library, in particular Pete Chapa, without whom this event would not be possible. I also want to thank Jennifer Wing, our managing editor at Eagle News. She's been behind the scenes as our timekeeper for this event. And finally, I want to thank the candidates.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your willingness to participate and for a lively and informative discussion.
Thank you.
Remember to vote November 2nd. Thank you.